Floor Plans Video 2. We will now begin by editing our imported floor plan and add our notes, dimensions, and layer corrections to create a construction document. Alright, a few things to learn before we begin in AutoCAD. In the last video we talked about the layer system and how we have layers for each element inside the floor plan. This is the final product which we will create. I went ahead and copied and pasted the final product in. This is the exact copy of the floor plan which you have in the classroom. And here are our project tasks in order, and we will work through these design steps while creating the construction document floor plan. Alright, a few more things to note. Down here at the bottom we have our paper space tab and we have our model space tab. Again, everything we draw will be in the model space. And on the bottom right corner we have a series of extra commands that we can use. Pay close attention to the snap command. And before we begin, let's go ahead and turn on our midpoint, our quadrant, our perpendicular, and I believe that will be it. So endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection, extension, and perpendicular. Okay, so our first step is to begin with the walls and the wall sheathing. So Revit exported our walls and our wall sheathing. If we had the fine detail on, which we did before in the previous videos, you'll see that we did export all of the lines inside the wall. If you only have two lines right now, you will need to go back to Revit, turn on your fine detail in your floor plan, and re-export. Alright, before we begin, we're going to delete these concrete hatch patterns. And then we are going to highlight the entire home. And we're going to go up to the top of the Home tab and click on the line weight settings. And we want all of our line weights to be by the layer. Okay, you'll notice that once we do this, the thick lines that we had before disappear. And here's why. Because in the layer properties, all of our specific layers have a specific line weight. So each type of line will print thicker based on its property inside the floor plan. So our wall studs will print thick, but our wall sheathing will print thinner. Another example would be our doors will print thicker than, let's say, furniture that's in the room. So it all depends on what thickness you need is what layer you select. So the preloaded template that I created will give you those line weights with the name of the element inside the floor plan. So you don't need to worry about the line thicknesses, you just need to make sure you select the right layer. Okay, so if every line is by layer, and at this point we will also need to clean out any extra things that you see inside your home that you would have at the point in your home now that I do not have on my screen. So if you have furniture in your home now, let's go ahead and delete that. If you have a TV on the wall that you can see, go ahead and delete that as well. Clean everything out of the floor plan except what the builder would need to see to build the home. These are for construction documents, not for any type of building presentation. We will go back into Revit and produce a building presentation after we create our construction documents. Okay, so let's get down to it. We're going to take our wall stud lines and we're going to select them. Now we can click and select as many lines as we want. There's no need to hold down the shift key like we would in Revit to select multiple things. We're going to select the stud lines, so that's the inside 2 lines. And we are going to change the layer to level 1 wall stud. Alright, once we change that, you'll see that the color and the thickness change. So at this moment, we are going to go through and select every stud wall or stud line that you see, and we will select 1 wall stud. So this is a little bit of a tedious process, but the end result's much better than what Revit exported and gave us. I've done floor plans in the past where we stuck with the Revit layers, and when you print it, it just doesn't look as clean as it would if we did this manual work ourselves. So for this set of documents, we're going to go ahead and do that. So if we look down here, this will be the end result. You'll have all of the stud lines selected, the inside 2, 1 and 2, all the way around. Now for the interior walls, it'll be the same thing. You'll have your 3.5-inch stud wall, and then outside of that is the wall sheathing, which is the sheetrock, which we were able to customize a little bit in Revit. So let's go back to our plan. So at this point, you'll pause the video and make sure you get to the end of updating your wall studs, and then come back and I'll show you how to change the layers for the wall sheathing. Alright, so now that you've created all of your wall stud lines in the correct layer and have what we see here on the bottom, just for wall studs, we will go ahead and change our exterior and interior sheathing lines. Alright, so Revit will give you a little bit of a hatch pattern inside here. We're going to delete that. That's not necessary. And for the sheathing lines, we'll select all 3. Same procedure. Choose the lines and then go to 1 wall sheathing. That's going to give it the orange lines. Now remember, when we print these, they'll be black and white. So it'll be on white paper, we'll use all solid black ink. So the thickness of the lines matters a lot to give that depth perception. So continue on. That's exterior. So same deal. We'll go to the interior and exterior and change to wall sheathing. You can select as many lines as you want. Just be careful if you happen to press the escape key, or you might bump your keyboard or your mouse. You may lose everything you selected. So I always like to just select a few lines at a time, but that's completely up to you. And work your way all the way around the home on all the interior walls and the exterior walls, and you will have what we see below. I'm going to turn off the layers that you have yet to do to show you what it should look like. So everything except our wall studs we will have, and everything else will be a white color. Alright, so you should see something similar to this. My drawings are not as clean as I would like, but that's okay. So you'll have the walls, stud lines, and the wall sheathing lines. Alright, our next step is to update the doors. So as you guessed it, it's the same procedure. We're not really drawing anything new yet. We will add a few extra lines and some text and some dimensions later. But we're going to go ahead and click on the doors. And we can change the layer. But you may see that nothing happens. We've changed this element. It's all grouped together. We've changed it to door. The color is by layer. The line thickness is by layer, and nothing changed. So we're going to learn how to use the explode command, where we select the door. You'll type X and press enter, and that explodes each of the lines into their own specific line. So now you'll see that we have it was a dash door before. We'll change that to one door layer and update the line thickness to match by layer. Everything is by the layer properties. You are absolutely welcome to clean out some of this extra trim that's brought in. You can leave it if you'd like. It just may start to print and blur together. The door frame can be deleted or kept. That's up to you. Everything changes to one door, however, and by layer for all. Alright, now exterior doors have a line that follows the outside siding just for a clean uniform look, and it shows that there's a threshold at the bottom of the door. That's the symbol for a exterior door. And an interior door would not have that. So if you decide to clean up your trim and your door frame on one door, you need to do it for the entire home. If you choose to keep them, then you must keep them for the entire home. So keep it uniform for every door that you change. Alright, so go ahead and complete all of the doors, and we will look at the next video where we will discuss how to change more layers for the windows and the cabinets, kitchen, bathrooms, and then we'll move into hidden lines where we will draw new lines in Revit, or in AutoCAD.